been a long time coming in development hell, but we finally have a live-action Halo series being adapted from the video games. And yes, Episode 1 is finally out on Paramount Plus, and today we're going to be discussing it in full spoiler context. So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it, come back, and let's discuss this episode in, again, full spoilers. There's a lot to discuss in here, and a lot of surprises, things that I actually thought were going to piss me off, actually has me kind of intrigued. And if you didn't see my original video, I got to see the first two episodes early. There won't be any spoilers for episode 2. I'll be doing a dedicated spoiler review for that. But I have overall loved the first two episodes of this show, especially the first one, to the point where I was completely and utterly surprised by this. The first trailer and all the teasers, first off, had me intrigued. But the trailer itself, the main one, I watched and I was like, okay, this actually looks good. Not bad, but good. There could be some things that a little bit worry me, some rumors that were circulating around them. One of those that was very much emphasized in this first episode, but I think what I'm really excited about is getting your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So make sure to leave a comment. Are you fans of the video games? Is this your first introduction to, of course, Halo? And make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you can join me along for the journey, because I love talking movies and TV over here. So if you're interested in Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Halo, Star Wars, or even the independent films like A24 does or other studios, I love talking about those and I love doing it on a daily basis over here. So again, hit that like and subscribe button and let's get forward with this. So, of course, this episode opens up with this new group of people that we're not familiar with. And one of those is led by this general who his daughter is out in the forest playing around and messing around. I think her name is Quan, if I can't remember correctly. Quan? Maybe. But she is an interesting character, and I have my thoughts on her and how they're going to use her, especially how they're going to be using Master Chief in this show, because something that we just saw in Halo Infinite, which if you haven't played yet, I feel like that story was very much about what does Master Chief mean to everyone around him, as well as what does he mean to himself and the people that he is trying to protect. And what I think the show gets done so well in the first episode is it establishes that this is a very different interpretation of Halo, but builds a fascinating world with a little bit of politics in there, as well as a system of what is this military, who are these aliens, and the intrigue is there for people who have never ever watched Halo or even played the games. But in general, there's enough also there for fans of the Halo series to not feel like a slap in the face per se. And in this opening segment, the first 20 minutes, I didn't expect the show to get so bloody. The entire colony gets wiped out. All of her friends gets wiped out. She's running, and we see the elites coming out of the ship sprinting and running, and it becomes full force invasion on this colony. They are destroying them, destructing them, and it's just an absolute massacre. I mean, we see them literally energy sorting, slashing people. When that one guy ran up against the door, got killed, and then he opens the door and just open fires and kills everyone, including the kids. This show showed we are not pulling any punches. We are here to show how ruthless the Covenant are, and especially the lead are, and all of their kind of mannerisms. And it was so impressive to see that. And again, the visual effects overall for a TV show are quite impressive. The trailer got me a little bit worried, but in here, in the context of what we're seeing, I thought they actually worked really well. Some were a little bit iffy, but overall, for a budget that they probably had, it was awesome. And again, brutal. But we all knew Master Chief and the other Spartans, which, to keep that in mind, Reach is still a thing and the other Spartans are still a thing in this world, drops down. And in that moment, I'm like, fuck yes, Master Chief is about to kick some ass, and he goes full out. We get some first-person shots, which maybe used a little bit too much of that, but it was still cool. Awesome play. I love some of the Easter egg stuff, the shield regenerating, him waiting, popping up. It was awesome. Like him dodging the energy swords, him running up and tackling the one and then just shooting it in the head with the pistol. Just such a fun time. And then, of course, at the end of this, they head up to the ship, trying to see what they are doing here and find this little device and there's an elite watching them, which I wonder if that's going to end up being the Arbiter. Not sure. Again, just theories and predictions from episode 1, but that's kind of something that I'm starting to think of. Maybe that possibly is, because the Arbiter is actually one of my favorite characters from the games. Love Halo 2, love Halo 3, so that's going to be interesting if they end up bringing that in there, because they're mixing a lot of different correlations of what Master Chief is, and especially in how they bring this about, because that elite escapes, and then he takes the girl with him, and on the ship, then we head back to the base, and we see a little bit of Halsey in here, and Halsey's kind of giving a little bit of like stuff that she is studying, but also what is going on with Master Chief. They start to notice this all, and I will say the pacing for the first episode is not perfect. It's a little bit long, and it feels like an hour, and it's 58 minutes with credits. But it honestly felt longer than that, and I do feel like maybe shortening certain things would have been better, because I was more invested within Quan and, of course, Master Chief's story than what was going back at the base. There's some interesting aspects there that I'm impressed with, that actually intrigued me, but just a couple more that I'm curious to see where they kind of go within the rest of the season. We obviously already know Season 2 is officially announced, so that is going to be exciting that we, if this ends on a cliffhanger, we don't have to worry if we're getting renewed. It is already being renewed, but just from this first episode, the action stole my heart. Shocked me. Awesome. I love it. Can't wait to see what we get more of. Adding in there, though, again, like the Halsey stuff, I like that dynamic. But the thing that started to surprise me at the end was Master Chief's relationship between him and Quan, and the relationship that they start to form. She obviously has this a lot of adversary. She's blaming him for the death of his mother, or the death of her mother. And I feel like there's a lot in there where you're sitting there watching it, and there's this emotional core to Master Chief that we haven't seen in the games yet. I feel like Halo Infinite started to bring this about, especially in the new trilogy. It's like the one thing I think they did greatly. And then they do something, because she points a gun at him as he's trying to save their lives, since their base wants to kill her. And he takes the mask off, which I heard that was going to happen. I heard it about a year ago. And ever since then, I've always had this, don't like that. In the context of the story, though, I didn't hate it. I'm curious to see how the rest of the story plays out, because I do love Pablo Schraeber. I think he's a great actor. And I think for general audiences who have never played Halo, they might need that to feel the emotion. But as we have seen in The Mandalorian, you can still give emotion through voice and not just through face. Obviously, Pedro does take his mask off in The Mandalorian at times, but it's very far and few between. So I'm hoping it's the same thing here, and in the context, it works here and there, and that he's not just going to have his mask off the entire time. That would start to piss me off. Now, again, we're only talking about the first episode, so we're not going any further. I've only seen the first 2 at this point. We're not talking spoilers about the second episode until next week. But I did like the concept. I like it in context. I didn't love it, though, and it's intriguing me. And the concept is now that they are on the run. And that is also intriguing me. There are elements in here, again, that is not the typical Halo story, but I am invested in, and I am surprised by overall. And overall, I'm loving the vibe and the aesthetic. Again, taking what the games have given us, the books, the lore, and moving it into a script that adapts it, but also honors what came before. That is how a video game adaptation should be. So overall, very, very invested with this show. Very much liking it, and kind of loving aspects of it as well. So let me know down below, guys, what your thoughts are. Make sure, again, to hit that like and subscribe button. Let's keep talking Halo over here, and all sorts of other geeky content. Can't wait to talk to you guys next week. And again, if these reviews do good, we will continue to keep talking Halo week to week. If not, then we're just going to do a season overall review at the very end. But of course, guys, thank you again so much for watching this. You guys are really all the best. So of course, until next time, stay classy.